All right, and welcome in anybody that's watching. I will say this, I'm sure, a whole bunch of times throughout the night, but this is 100% test to see what exactly is going to happen and work with kind of this interactive quiz platform that I'm working on building specifically for live streams and the ability to be able to collect quiz data from within the chat. So hopefully the audio to video sync is a little bit better tonight than it was on the last stream. I'm not 100% sure how long we will go tonight because really, again, it is specifically a test. You will see me slide over a whole bunch over to this side and kind of show you the side of my face, mainly because this is doing testing, so I've got a couple of extra windows up on my other computer that'll be beyond what I show you guys, just to be able to see exactly how everything works. So bear with me. If you have joined and you want to play along, please do play along. You should be pretty interactive and pretty easy. There's no guarantees that it will specifically work. This is testing, so you never know. You never know what's going to happen, but appreciate you guys, any of you that are joining, coming in. You should be able to play through the YouTube chat. You shouldn't have to open it up on your phone, but I do have the URL pinned that you can click on and actually join the game from there as well. I am actually real quick going to join as just an additional user on my phone, again, just to test. So let me get that in here. Dave phone. All right, so I'm in there, and give me just a second here because I want to, again, I'm going to be testing out a whole bunch of stuff throughout the night. So if you are popping in, welcome to the fun, welcome to the craziness. But we'll go ahead and I've got a couple minutes till what was my scheduled start time, but I do want to just kind of take a moment to thank anybody that did stop in. Again, this is a night of testing, so we'll see. I will give full disclosure, and I will mention this multiple times throughout the night that sorry, I'm playing around with the volume stuff. I will mention this multiple times throughout the night because I want to make sure it is clear to everybody. The quiz questions came from AI. They did not come from me. I had AI generate them, so we'll see how close they are. I actually have never seen them either, so the actual playing of the quiz will be that. But again, realistically, we're working on testing today. I also realize I don't have all my OBS scenes set up exactly how I probably would want them. Let me check here real quick. I'm going to switch over to studio mode and check to see what that, gosh, I can't even actually, hold on. I want to see what that's going to look like. That's that one. That's that one. Let me make this a little bit smaller. Sorry, looking at some stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's get started here. For now, I guess I'll leave my webcam down here at the bottom. But this is kind of the welcome screen of the game. So this is really the admin screen. Long term, I'd like to get this where it's designed for a phone, because the thought process is this might be a streamer that's in the field that's going to set this up and just start it and progress through it there. We'll see. This is just, again, the starting place. There's a whole lot of admin work that goes behind this that you're not seeing here specifically on the screen. But again, this is just the starting place. So the first thing that we do is we start polling here. What this is actually going to do is it's going to let people in the chat know that if you want to register, and you don't technically have to register, you just say hello in the chat. There's no requirement. You can see it automatically added, because it's going to pull from the history of the chat. It added my Pyle's Adventures, my Disney Live Online, and my Emperor Cusco bot. So those are the three people. Now the bot's not going to play, but I do have the Pyle Adventures and Disney Live Online over here on the side to where they said hello in there. If you are joining in and you want to play along, you definitely can play at any point. You just answer the question in the chat and it'll actually add you in. You can see it's pulling in the actual logos from the username, so it has those in there and trying to make it as graphical as possible. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, this is mainly testing, so if you have popped in and you don't know what's going on, that's fine. You're just as confused as probably as I am. Let me get my screen up here a little bit bigger. So we're going to go ahead and start. So when you hit the start, it's going to count down, and then it's going to give you the option to answer the question. Now, the big piece here is it's going to give you the options. So if I'm on the app, I'm going to have this shown on my screen. I can very easily answer, and you'll actually see at the very top right, it'll show. So I'm going to answer at the top right there. And I actually realized I started the wrong quiz, but it's okay. We'll start another quiz here in a second. This one only has, I think, 4 questions in it. But so we can see, you know, what ride is this? Obviously, the answer is going to be Space Mountain. Now, if you were on the app, you would specifically have this as an option. What's going to happen here now is I'm going to pull over and I'm going to answer specifically for these. So I'm going to answer a couple different ways. So Space Mountain is C, so I'm just going to answer C for Disney Live Online. And then I'm going to just say space for Pyle Adventures here. So you'll see those will pop in. You can see, you know, the answers here are showing that everyone has answered, and now I can actually reveal. So the right answer was Space Mountain. Points were awarded. So we can see that Disney Live Online got it right. They got 1720. Pyle Adventures got it right. They got 1710 by being the second. It took off a little bit of the points. And then we can see me on my phone answered, and I got 1,400 points. So it's working. One thing I am already seeing when it comes to how it works is the weighted scores, because I answered first on my phone. So realistically, I should have gotten the most points on my phone, but the points are apparently a little bit extra weighted. So something I'll have to look at. But again, it's you know, always getting it in there. But it is cool to see, you know, you have a phone app that you can answer on the phone, but you can also then interact specifically with those in here. So we'll go on to the next question. So what is this? So this is the Millennium Falcon, Falcon, however you want to answer it. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to answer wrong on my phone. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to try, you know, just making sure. I'm going to say Falcon is Disney Live Online. That's a partial. And then I'm going to say Millennium Falcon. I'm going to misspell it. So I'm going to misspell it here. And I'll show you a little bit of one of the items I have in here. And thanks for coming in, Fred O'Malley. Feel free to hang out with us as long as you want an answer. I see you have your D there, so you got it right. And I thank you for putting the D in as a small d, because that helps me test as well to make sure. So we have almost everyone answered. The one answer we don't have in is from Emperor Cusco, who's the bot. Don't have him logged in anywhere. So we'll go ahead and reveal the answer. So we didn't actually get anyone that it says the answer was correct. Which is interesting. So let's look. And it's interesting because it even shows that 2 people answered Millennium Falcon, but it did not award any points. Okay, so it looks like we have another issue there that I'll have to diagnose and play. This was kind of the main reason I answered this way. It's misspelt, is I have the option in here to go in, double check the misspellings, or if someone typed it in weird, and you can then mark it as correct. Theoretically, then, it then marked that one as correct. So you got the most points. I'm interested in the fact, because it essentially now, Disney Live Online is now stuck, even though he got the question right, which it does make sense that he got the question right. Doesn't look like it. So we'll go on to the next question, and we'll see. We're going to, again, test it out, see kind of how it goes. Disney never wanted adults in the park. Hopefully people get this one right, but I'm going to do it as a small b, and we'll do it as a big B. And it does take a second, so it pulls from the answers. in the YouTube chat about every 5 seconds. So it does take, a little bit of time before it picks up the answers. I'm interested because it looks like I wonder if the timing on it, because there weren't enough chats. I'll have to check on that too, because it looks like it picked up, and we'll look at it and see, but I think it picked up my Pyle Adventures, my previous answer, not the current one. So we'll reveal. So that time it did calculate points properly. So it's like that middle one, it did not. Now, Fred, I see you answered false and then you answered B. It did get your false properly. But yeah, it's not updating every time. It's also interesting because you can see the answer breakdown. It says everyone got it correct. So it did order points. Okay. All right. So I think that was the last question in that quiz. So it's going to give, winners and losers here. There is specifically a breakdown of it. I do want to do one thing. So what we're going to do is I'm going to exit. Actually, I'm just going to go back to the menu here. Let me double check. So it's a little bit behind the scenes. So there is a little bit of admin that I've got where you can go to actually set up. And I was trying to see, it doesn't look like it saved the proper quiz. Yeah, so hold on. Let me close this. Give me just a second, because I should have this over here and be able to log in and update it. Now that's interesting. It's not showing. Oh, I bet, did I log in with the right admin account? Again, I said, this is just kind of testing. This is how it goes. No, that is very weird. It's almost like it's caching. All right, so stand by here for just a second. I'm going to try to get this other quiz over here. Just got to find exactly where it is. If I can spell Disney properly. So that should have gotten save and generate. So now if I come over here, now it dropped me back into the game. I'm not supposed to be in the game. Exit. There we go. All right, so I have another quiz here, but before I do that, I want to make a quick change. So this is where you get to have real fun, because this is changing code on the fly. So give me just a second, because I've got one change I want to make. And we may do this a couple times. We'll see how this goes. Hey, cast member Monique, welcome in. We're just doing some crazy testing. Okay, I'm just working on making a change. Sorry you get to see the side of me, but this is the behind the scenes. We are going to go ahead and we're going to start this next one, and it'll take me just a second here because I've got to get. I was like, there's not really any confidential data on any of these screens. You guys are just going to see me have fun here. Let's just go ahead and launch it. So this is now the new game. I'm going to start polling, so it should bring in anybody that says hello at this point, and it will show them. So I'm going to switch back and just go, hello, we want to play next game. Now that is if I got the polling right. There we go. So we can see, again, my folks said hello, and it automatically brings us in. So we will see kind of how it goes. And cast member Monique, you can play along with us at any point you're able to join. Hey, Blake. So again, we're just playing along here. We will see how it goes. I've already found a couple bugs. But definitely appreciate any of those that have come in. You do have the option to join on your phone if you wanted to, but you can also play in the chat. So I see cast member Monique, you're on your phone, but you can also just play by answering in the chat. That was kind of my main reason for testing tonight. And again, I've got some errors that I'm going to see if I can fix while we're on. Probably not, but we'll go ahead and get started. This is a huge quiz, and I will preface this with AI built this. So if any of the answers are wrong, just bear with me. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and start. So you'll get the countdown here, and then you'll have the opportunity to answer. So we can see here, what's the name of the alien in the extra? Well, it's funny because it's AI working off of old information here, because it's now Stitch's Great Escape, and it's not. I don't have any idea what the answer is, so we're going to say B for this one, and we're going to say A for this one. And I'll give you guys a second to be able to answer before I move it on. So as kind of the answers come in, I'm just hedging my bets. But the cool thing about this is that you can answer both in the chat as well as on the app if you were to actually do it. Ooh, and that's a really good test, Blake, because that one has punctuation in it. And I like the way that, or not Blake, sorry, Fred, the way you answered there, because again, that's going to really test my program to see. So I'm going to give it a second to make sure that it fully polled all of those. I think counting, that would probably be about right. So we'll go ahead and reveal the answer. So the answer was Skippy, at least according to AI. And again, I definitely have an issue with my awarding of points, because you can see it just likes me the best. It gave Pyle Adventures, unless I guess according to it, no one got it right except for Pyle Adventures. Okay, no, then that would have been right. Let me look at my stats. Okay, and Fred, for you, because of when you answered, it took your hello because it doesn't, the timings and kind of the way it works. Again, things to work on. So no, I guess that was correct. So it did answer. So we'll go on to the next one here. We'll get our countdown, and we will see. I guess what I need to do is I need to have something with a time stamp to give there some latency for the YouTube stream, because if you said something right before I hit the button to go to the next question, it would specifically think you were wrong. So which ride features a 13-story drop? That should be Tower. Is that Tower? Maybe that's Tower. Maybe it's not, but I would think so. And then this one we're gonna do A. Again, I'm playing around with stuff. You'll see, just kind of seeing how it goes. But let's see, Blake, if we got the A right there. We'll give another second in case anybody else wants to answer as well. It's kind of hard to judge, I guess, with the latency of YouTube and how the stream goes, specifically how long, where if you were using the app, and at some point I can show you guys. And actually I realized my pinned comment isn't going to be correct for this one. So now that hold on, let me work on this real quick. Again, sorry, this is part of the fun you guys get with just testing. So I want to copy that, and then I'm going to repin the new correct comment. So give me a second, unpin. So then that will be the new one that would be pinned. Okay. And then let me also just go ahead and because this is a good test, because then you're supposed to be able, based on my programming, you're supposed to be able to join mid-game. So, okay, I joined mid-game, and I was actually able to answer that question too. So let's go ahead and let's get the QR code out of the way, and let's reveal the answers. So basically everyone got that right. It does look like it at least sent out the points there. There is still some interesting, it's not weighting the points right, I guess, is what I'm seeing. So I'm definitely going to have to look at that so that it's actually fair. But okay, so now we're rolling. So we'll go on, but I am going to check the other. So Emperor Cusco Bot answered because he was responding, and then someone said hi. So it's kind of nice because you can go in and check. So if you had spelt it wrong or something like that, I could go in and award points based on that. So all right, let's just keep going and let's see. Again, I'm going to admit these questions came from AI, so me being able to know the answers to these is probably not the best. So I am seeing, because of the way I programmed it, it might be a little bit, there might be a little bit of a way to cheat because of the fact that for the answers, it accepts partial answers. So like for this one, I think it's rock and roller. Oh no, it's not. It's test track, isn't it? Oh, I'm dumb. But you could technically have put in a partial if it has the same answer. But yeah, Fred, I think you got that one. I think I was completely wrong on that. I did the 65 threw me because I was like, oh well, what's the fastest? I'm like, oh, it's rock and roller, but it's not because it's test track. Yeah, that's. I think you guys are going to be right on that one. All right, we got 7 answers of 9 in. That's probably the bots, which I guess I realistically need to make sure to have some exclusion way or a way to like turn those off or turn off certain people. All right, let's see. The answer was test track. Yeah, I do want to work on this as well because the way this shows, it's just not big enough when it says what the correct answer is. I'd like it to be really big there so we can see, we got 3 test tracks, we had 1 Tron, and then we had 2 that were detected as rock and roller because I put the coaster in there, and then we've got just a greeting. So it does seem to be working pretty well when it comes to how you can do it through here. Ultimately, long term, what I really want is I want when I click next question for it to put the question in the chat. So realistically, it's as soon as you would hit next question, it would start reading from the chat, but it's going to ask the question in the chat. So it would say when it counts down, it would go ahead and send. What's the max? Wow. That's funny because that's literally AI. You fail. That's literally the question we just answered. So that would be A. Hopefully, if you hopefully you would get that one. But realistically, what I want it to do long term is it would actually say in the chat, what's the maximum speed of test track, and then give the options as well in a way that you could see it, so that technically the person wouldn't have to share the screen to be able to play the game. So again, let's do 65. Now, see, this is where I think I can cheat because if I do MPH, I think the way my code is, oh, Blake's trying to really cheat. Let's see, Blake. I'm interested to see if it takes your ABCD as the answer to all of them, because I was thinking more if I just put MPH, it's going to read that as a partial answer. So I probably have to work on that. It's kind of, I guess it's somewhat the honor system as well. But let's see if we reveal now. All right, so it didn't look like, I don't think, Blake, it liked your ABCD, and then it didn't like my 65. So I guess it's only doing, it didn't like the 65. Now that's interesting, but it did like the MPH. So it definitely a little bit of tweaking still to be done on how it detects specifically the answers. But I do like, again, I like the fact that you guys can play in the chat and it's automatically reading the answers. I will say where this concept kind of came from, slightly cheating, but where this concept came from was I was on Pete's show on Wednesday night, and he plays it with his 2 Truths and a Lie game. And, he's got people in the background that are keeping track of that. I was like, well, realistically, is there a way you could have this do this? So, and hey, Tony, yeah, so we're testing kind of this quote unquote quiz game. And you can start playing just from here. It's just completely in the chat. You could join on your phone as well with the pinned link, but you can definitely, yeah, he did miss the Tower of Terror question. Sorry, Tony. And I don't have a way of going back right now either. But so Tony, all you have to do is just, and be careful because you don't want to chat before the question comes up. So it's kind of one of those where if you chat before, it'll take that as the answer. And maybe I need to let it, no, I don't want to let it take your last chat. So yeah, that'll be something to think about if there's a way to do that. But so ready for the question. So we'll see kind of how it goes. Let's see. So, okay, so I'm going to start the question. So I'll give a second. And also, I misspelled question. But all right, so we're ready. Get the countdown. It's the name of the restaurant inside Cinderella's castle. So it's going to be A is what I'm going to say for this guy. And then I'm going to cheat with this other one as well. Again, I'm going to be switching back and forth a lot. But so we'll give you guys a question or a minute if you want to answer. It is kind of cheating because I'm here live. So when I see the question come up, so in order to answer the question, all you have to say is either the number. You can also type in part of the answer. So here, I think you could technically, that's why I tried table. I don't know what it would do if you did just Cinderella, but I think realistically, the best thing to do is to put in the A, B, C, or D. So we got a couple answers here. I think we're going to be all right on this one. Yep, 100% right there. Ooh, Fred's breaking out in front of us here. Coming up on us, and definitely gonna put us to shame. It is interesting because I can tell just based on points, and it's interesting because I can tell that Monique, you're still playing even though you're not chatting. You're just playing on your phone, which is a interesting dynamic, and you can tell you're on your phone mainly because you don't have the icon that came from YouTube. But it's kind of a cool thing. I think you technically get more points though playing through the chat right now because I have an error. But all right, let's go ahead to the next question. Let's see what we got. In Carousel of Progress, what's the name of the father's character? See, these are, I should know all of these. I think I know what it is, but, and then we're going to also try there. So I'm going to try maintaining a leaderboard between quizzes. What do you mean maintaining? Like removing or tallying scores, Blake? I don't think I know what you mean by that, but because it's like it just continues to tally, and I probably need to now see this is one of the problems with the way this is set up, because it's like, Blake, you answered correctly, but it's going to technically take that from the top, and that's why I was like, if there was a way for me to have it insert a chat with the question, I could only take answers below that. So let's see here. Yeah, so we've got John. We got him correct here. I wanted to check to see. So it's like you can see here where it thought that was your question, but I can go, oh, you're meaning long-term leaderboard outside of, because you're right, because Pete tallies. So as you play, it just gets more and more. I hadn't thought about that because everything I have is just based on a quiz by quiz basis. But there probably would be a way. See, you're adding to the things that go on in my head here. But we do have a leader change here. So we've got Monique out front, followed by Fred. It's pretty close up there at the top, but there's still room to catch up. Let me make sure. Yeah, so I did mark that one as correct already. Yeah, so it's so I got another issue where after I mark it correct, it should change it to be correct, because I gave Blake the credit because he had it in the chat, right? So, all right, next question. Some of these are hard questions. Which coaster features a backwards launch? See, it's funny because these take me a second sometimes. And let me go ahead and answer on my phone too, so that I can make sure that one's still working. We got a couple of answers. There's no telling if my computer will make it through the whole thing as it is, but one of the things I guess I haven't 100% tested that, is you can pause the polling. So it's like if you're going to show the question for a while and then you're going to tell people to answer, you can technically do it that way. I think it just made it a little bit more complicated. I'm also not sure. I probably need to have it poll a little bit after because of the latency with the actual stream, because it's hard for me at the moment because I'm not, let me pull up and actually watch myself, because it's hard to kind of tell how far behind I am. Now, one thing I will note just for you guys, and we'll go ahead and move to the answer for this. Oh, everyone got this one correct. I'm trying to remember. Yes, okay. Yeah, I was trying to remember how I answered that one on that one. But I do have it built into the app. So if you go into the app and you play there, it actually has the option to show the stream at the top of the screen. So you technically, while you're playing, you can actually view it all kind of in one place, and it will refresh when we go to the next question. So next question. There are secret tunnels under Magic Kingdom called utilidors. Ooh, now that one's really, so the one screwy thing is that it randomizes the answers on the oh, what was I saying? On the app. So the A and B were swapped on my app here. So then we got true. Yeah, so there's definitely, and I have latency set higher on my computer, which I probably should lower that down because I'm used to the latency when live streaming from the parks, where you want the highest thing you have. But so it looks like we got most everybody's answers in there. We'll go ahead and reveal. So we can see we only got one wrong answer that it showed. I don't know why. I don't know whose it was detecting as a wrong answer. So one thing I don't have as well is the way to click. So I should be able to click here and see who got it wrong. Actually, that could have been me. So yeah, it's an interesting again concept there. So I've still got to play a little bit with that, but I mean it is working. So we'll see. We'll move on to the next question. It is hard because the app is so far ahead that it's like if you are playing on the app, by the time the video even shows the question, you've already had the question for a while. So there's almost an unfair advantage to those that would be on the app, because on the app it's very easy. It's very easy to answer, and you have plenty of time to do it. So it's like, I guess let me just have. Hey, Lily's Life Dad, how's it going? Welcome in. Yeah, I decided there was no real schedule on this test. This was pure just like I might as well, if I'm gonna test this, I might as well stream it too, just in case. But this is just playing around mainly with this kind of interface I have where it'll pull from the chat, so you can have a quiz or a game that we could play. So we're just kind of going through questions. We'll see here. So we've got a whole bunch of others, but I think that was the welcoming in here. So yeah, it's one of those. I do think I need to find a way to have it send a message that's going to specifically say, hey, it starts now, and then anything between that and then like and it's an exact thought of what Pete does, where he has the stop signs at the beginning and then he has the stop signs at the end, so that's kind of the section of chat that is going to be accepted. And that's mainly just because of the latency, because you guys don't see the question on my screen for 15-20 seconds, where those playing on the app have already been seeing that question because it's instantaneous. So it's like the app is a little bit cheating to a certain extent if you're playing this game. So let's go ahead and hit the next question here. There are 51. I highly doubt I'm going to make it through all 51. What's the highest mountain in Animal Kingdom? Well, that's kind of an interesting one, but oh, I almost got it wrong because again, it's out of order on the app. The app randomizes the answers. So if you're playing on the app, you got to be a little bit careful with that. So let's see here. And then, so we'll put in some answers in the chat. Again, I'm trying to watch because it is the delay, because my computer is not the best. The delay is a decent amount. So I'm having to kind of adjust to that, which is funny because I think the delay is actually more than it is on my phone when I'm streaming from the parks. But oh, see, and that's still the one. It's like, that's why I need those beginning messages and then the end message, because then that would actually show before I got to the question on the screen because of the delay, because it's like, Ken, it's going to take technically that first answer as your answer, and so it won't accept the other. So let's go ahead and reveal. We can see our leaderboard here. And yeah, so we can see here it took, oh, and Blake, you got that one right too. So we'll see. I can mark both of those as correct. I can close it, make sure that we give some points out there for those just because of the timing. Yeah, it is that's kind of a hard one because of the delay. So I am thinking I need to figure out how to have it integrate. That's just an extra step that I was hoping not to have to do, but I think realistically it's got to integrate in such a way so that it'll ask the question in the chat and then it's going to take all the chat messages after that. But hey, APP, thanks for stopping by, saying hello. But I keep getting lots of ideas, and this was just one that had kind of come up after being on Pete's show on Wednesday with kind of what he does, because I was like, there's got to also be a way to do this almost in an automated fashion. And I know, APP, I know you were doing a quiz show yesterday night with what program it was you were using. And I was thinking about that. I was like, it's cool to be able to have, kind of the app on your phone, which you can actually use. You could scan the QR code here and play specifically on your phone as well. But I like the idea of being able to play both places. Now, what I've noticed is because of the extra latency, it's not really fair. So I need to actually answer this one. The Animal Kingdom Tree of Life. True. I need to keep my points up because I got to keep my own accounts up here. But no, we've had several already that I didn't even really know the answer to. So, all right. So we'll go ahead and reveal the answer here. So it is true. And again, it picks up a couple of the hellos there that it picks up. So yeah, it's kind of it is working, it is functioning. I've got some issues with the actual point values, I know. And then the way it starts reading, because again, it's almost like I need to have a delay on this, just a latency delay of like 20 seconds before it starts reading the chat, because it's like it takes your answer before you guys have even seen it. So it's like I just saw on my other phone that it's just now showing that question. So it's kind of hard for you guys because you have to answer real quick. We're going to do flight. We're going to do A. So it is kind of, yeah. So, I mean, granted, if I wasn't doing this myself where I can actually see it on my screen, the latency, I would more just be waiting for people to respond. So I guess it would, but I think the app folks still, again, have a huge advantage. So it's almost like you need to delay it closer to what your latency is. So that might be, I might can do that and have a delay. Okay, that's it. See, it's the wheels in my head's turning. I could have specifically a delay set up where it would automatically delay the app by like X number of seconds before it shows it, to give at least some more synchronization behind those. So, all right, let's see. So this one should be Feathered Flights and Friends. Again, I like to always check here. So it's like, yeah, it picked up, because I moved too quickly, APP, it picked up your answer from the last round, not from this round. Same thing with like Blake, it's delayed. And so it's like you said A, Fred said A, but I had already moved on to the next screen by the time you guys saw it. So it is kind of, have to figure that one out, because the latency delay is something that I hadn't much thought of. So, but we'll see. We're only going to do a couple more questions, and then we'll end out. I think it was a pretty good test, and I appreciate those of you that came in. Water park that is themed after a ski resort. Ooh, which one is that? I think it's this one. I think. Based on y'all's answers, I think it's this one, and that's good. I know that's one of the things on Pete's show that I noticed is it's like you can kind of go with the crowd if you wanted to, but I'm gonna check to see. I want to give it a second just in case for it to catch up from a latency standpoint. Yeah, because that is it almost, and then I almost need to let the polling go a little bit later, because it is kind of unfair, because I click that button and it cuts it off right away on kind of the polling process. So you couldn't answer at that point, but it's, so yeah, so everyone got that one right. Yeah, so Monique's killing it, because I have to take myself out of the running because I put the questions in, and I also have the fact that I can answer quicker because I'm here. But all right, let's go ahead. We'll do 2 more, and then we're gonna cut out the stream for today. But appreciate you guys coming in. I'm not gonna do. I know we're on question 13 of 51. I'm not going through all of these, but let's go ahead. Which Epcot festivals fell during the spring and features topiaries? Features topiaries. That would be. I think. We will see. Now, of course, it's also interesting because I feel like I'm probably answering, and I may be answering before you guys even see the question. So again, that's why I'm like, if I could get it to push the question into the chat, you guys would see that with the latency. See, I think I would though still want the latency so that you guys are seeing it at the same time it appears on the screen. So I almost need to set, a 10, 15 second automatic latency to the game so that it waits before it starts the polling, and then it waits that long after before it ends the polling. I think I can figure it out. Sorry, it's all the tech talk that you guys probably aren't interested in, but looks like we should have gotten most everybody's questions in there. I'll go ahead and reveal it is Flower and Garden. We had one person get it wrong. I actually wasn't sure at all what the answer would be on that one. Yeah, I also need to have something in here that shows from the leaderboard who got it right and who got it wrong, so that you can kind of see, because for those of you in the chat, even if it detected like the wrong, so if APP it detected you're kidding as your answer, depending on when that came in, you wouldn't, well, I guess I'd be able to know if it was in the other. But even then, it would be nice to be able to see, like, a thumbs up arrow, and maybe if it showed the points slower so that you could see them. Okay, last question, and then we're gonna hang it up for the night. I need to eat. I haven't had dinner. Hollywood Studios, what's the name? Oh, Tony. Where's Tony? This was Tony's question, just for Tony. Let me make sure to hit the right button here. Tony wasn't in here for this one, was he? He had already given up on us. Don't blame me, Tony. He was in here earlier, APP, so he missed out. He missed out on one of the earlier tower questions too. There were a bunch of tower questions. All right, so let's see. We got a decent number of responses here. Oh, that's APP. It took your "Where's Tony?" But you also said D. But see, you're not. They don't have the Hollywood Tower Hotel out there in California now. They got the Guardians Breakout, which is a really fun ride. I do love it at California Adventure. I can't say anything really bad against it. But all right, well, I appreciate you guys coming in. I think that's where we're going to kind of end it out. I'm trying to remember if I exit. I think it just closes the game room, and I can resume it. See, that's weird because I think, and you guys don't have to answer, but I think I can actually end the game from the question. Yeah, so that's a weird. And then when I end the game, it'll give out the ending point, so it gives us the final points here. Cast member Monique, you got the real gold medal. You got the real gold medal here, but definitely appreciate everybody coming in, hanging out for the test. I just wanted to kind of see a little bit of what it would look like. I've got definitely some tweaks to make it a little bit more, not as much more interactive, but just make it run a little bit smoother. I do really now want to be able to get it where it'll put the question in the chat with the answers so that it really makes it fair across the board, because I think, and I also need that inserted latency, because it's like, it is kind of cheating with the fact that people that would play on their phone are going to get it, 10, 15 seconds before everyone else. They're going to have the opportunity to answer. So, all right. Well, thanks everybody for hanging out with us. Appreciate all of you that played along. Congratulations to cast member Monique. Well, you got gold. You got gold because I don't count, because again, I saw some of these questions before, and AI created all the questions anyway. But thanks, Fred, for dropping in. We'll see. It might come up. Maybe I'll do more formal trivia for the next show that I do, if I have time to do a show. But definitely appreciate everybody coming in. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Friday, and have a good, safe weekend. Everybody stay safe and have a great